In today's video, I'm going to show you how to make some bows. And in other videos, I'll show you how to use them in styling. So let's begin. Here in the 3D window, this is a prop. It's like an inanimate object. It's something that you can even make in Blender and import it into your scene. And this is just here to help. It's like a curtain that would help to display these bows. Um, you can easily get it from the resource library when you click here on this icon and you click on scene. You see prop. So they have different props and you can choose from. And these, they help with when you want to display your garments, for example, if you do handbags or other types. These are just like assets. And I had chosen this one, the curtain. Now, if you want to color it, you click on it and you go to the property editor and you'll see where you can color it. So let's begin. So here we're gonna click on the rectangular tool and we're going to draw out a rectangle here. So we're going to then get our add point tool because I want the half of this rectangle. So I'm going to right click, uniform split, okay, and right click again and uniform split. Remember, it divides it into two equal segments. Very important. Now, here with the pen tool, I'm going to just draw a line here and just an internal line. Now, let's find it in our 3D window. And okay, here it is. And what I'd like to do is in the beginning, I'm going to apply the default fabric, which is cotton, onto this pattern piece. So I'm going to leave it like that for now. If you've noticed in the object browser, I've brought in a silk habotai, a silk material, okay? So I want to demonstrate a couple things to you. Now, this is cotton. Um, Now, if you wanted just to make to begin with a really simple type of a bow, okay? You can easily, this internal line, you can easily add some elastic to it. I'll show you. With the edit pattern tool selected, you select it and you find the elastic property, elasticity here. You turn it on and here you want to apply some elastic. And you have to, of course, if you remember from the other videos, you need to toggle these two, the strength and the ratio. Before I begin doing all of that, I am going to simply pin this in place because if I don't, it's going to fall to the ground. So here you go up to your pin tool and I'm going to select the fixed pin box. Okay, fixed pin box here. I'm going to show you in the 3D window, but you can do it anywhere you want to. Just going to drag and add a pin to this. Yeah, a couple pins. Drag here, add a little couple pins. So then when I go and I simulate, it doesn't fall to the ground. Okay, let's go back. So we were talking about our elastic. So here to the edit pattern tool selected, I'm going to click on this. And there again, I'm going to maybe bring down the ratio a bit and turn up the strength and I'm going to simulate, see what happens. So if you notice this, it just folds like this and it, of course, gathers in the middle and that's very important. So, okay, let's maybe gather it a little bit more. Let's turn up the strength and see what happens. Okay, so here it is. I'll take off simulation and put it back on, like sort of reset it. Okay, so more or less, this is what it is here. So what we can do now is we can put a piece, and now I'm talking about just a starter bow. I'm not talking about a complicated bow. We're going to do that afterwards. But I just want to show you the basics, the bare basics in the beginning. We can do a put a piece, but if you notice the way this is floppy, when I simulate, it's like really floppy. So before, be in the default fabric, before I go adding any other fabrics to stiffen the bow, because that's what we like about bows. We may like floppy bows in some instances, but the idea is a nice bow with the loops that are stiff and the beautiful tails, okay? So what we need to do in order to help us with the construction in the meanwhile is to add a certain property. Okay, so what we do, we go to our select move tool, right click on this, and we see strengthen. So strengthen is what it does. It's, as the name suggests, it strengthens the fabric so that when you simulate, you see now it stays up a bit, quite a bit, okay? So it really does add that much more strength to the fabric. So just remember it in those terms. So this, of course, when you need to take it, when you're finished with it and you're finished designing and you're like, okay, I need to put the proper fabric, you can unstrengthen it and then put the proper fabric. But now it's going to help us along, okay? And it really, in the other lessons, you'll see how much you really need this feature. You will use it a lot. To unstrengthen, of course, you right click and here it's unstrengthen and you can unstrengthen it. Okay, so let's do Control Z and we put back this strengthening property. So here, remember this, it's on. And one more thing I need to tell you is, okay, you see when it's strengthened, the color that comes on, it's sort of it's a beige, okay? If you click here, colors, show 3D colors, you see all these with the ticks next to them. That's because I want to know, for example, it depends on the individual. I want to know when it's strengthened, when it's not. If you don't want to know, or if you really don't want to see these colors show up when you use a certain property, all you do is you go up to show 3D colors and you click on it, and it just goes away. And it's strengthened, but it's white. Okay, so it shows the original color. So this, it's just like color code to say, okay, well, the strengthened feature is on, and that's great. For example, even the other features, they do help me. Sometimes I do take them off, but they do help. In this case, I'm going to leave it on so that you understand that there is this feature on. So let's continue. Now, as we say, this is going to be so basic, this starter bow. This is called a basic flat bow. So what we can do here now is we're going to add the middle piece. And for the middle piece, we just have to go to the rectangular tool. And let's draw out here, draw something like that. So we just want to cover up this part here, okay? Now let's find it in our 3D window. So we're going to go and get this here. Let's make sure in the meanwhile the cloth thickness is off so we know at least the wrong side or right side. Okay. So now what you have to do is you practically have to wrap this around this. Okay. Do you understand what tools you need to use, or uh, how you can achieve this? Because it would be very difficult to segment sew this to this. It's just going to fall to the ground. So what you can do is this. You bring it up close like this, and in the 2D window, we're gonna add a couple of lines, okay? We don't care about the being precise with these lines. We're gonna just add a couple of internal lines. We can add one there, we can add one here. Okay. Now, when we go up here, we're going to select fold arrangements because what we're trying to do is fold these pieces here because we want to sew it. We want to sew this end to this end. So what we're going to do, we're going to select and remember the lesson on fold arrangement, and then we're going to bend it. We're going to fold. Then we're going to go here, and what we're going to do is we're going to fold. Oh, let's get the, okay, we get the arrow. We're gonna fold. So we folded it, and what we can do is we go to the select move tool, you push it in closer, and here we can easily segment sew, and we begin doing that. So we do like this, and we segment sew. So here we've segment sewn. It's a too it's too much, it's too long. So in the meanwhile, what we're going to do is we're going to select the edit pattern tool. Let's get rid of these internal lines. We click on this, hold down shift, click on the other one, right click, and just delete. So we've deleted them. Now we want to shorten this. So here with the edit pattern tool still selected, we can just, we don't have to do anything, just go up and shorten it. We don't even have to hold down shift if you don't want to. Simulate. Okay, so here we have it shorter. If it's not short enough, and if you want a little bit more couple tails. So here you can be like, okay, where can we add these tails? So we can click on this, the middle here, and we can add the tails. I'll show you where. We can add them under here, right here. So let's click to understand the point in which we can add these tails. We can add them right here. So in the 2D window, you see exactly the position. So what we can do is we can take our pen tool and we draw a line approximately right here. And that's an internal line. Now let's draw some tails. Go to our rectangular tool and we're going to just draw these tails. This one, and then we can just copy and paste, Control C, Control V. So we have two. So we have two somewhere around here, and we just bring them in, bring them closer. Okay, this one's further away. We can just bring it a little closer. Okay. And we line them up like this. Now we have to sew this part onto the internal line there and this part also. So what we're going to do is we're going to, well, let's measure this internal line. So this internal line, it says 35.58. Okay. Let's measure the top of this, 27. Okay. So what we can do is easily, with the edit pattern tool, we adjust the top here. We do like this. We just bring it in here and just bring it in here. And we're going to do that with the others. Okay. Just move these points. Or you could have just done one and then copy it instead of doing all the work, do one and then the other. So, the idea is always to save time. But so that's really important. So here again with the edit pattern tool selected, we click here and we see it's 12.21. And it's 12.21. We're going to just create a couple of areas here so we can sew each one on individually to this line. So what we could do is we can add points on the line. That's not a big deal. So here we just add points 1, 2, 3, 4. Or what we can do is just right click and just try to understand how many points we need to add. So we need to sew on these 2 tails. Okay, so practically we need like 4 points or even 5. So 2, 3, 4. Let's put 5, because then we can sew one here and one here, no problem. If you really want to be precise about the lengths, you just go back to the edit pattern tool, you click in the middle here, and you see this is like 712 each, 712, because they're equally spaced. So let's begin just sewing these on. Select move tool. We're gonna take this one, and we're gonna take this one here, and when we're gonna begin sewing. Segment sewing. We're gonna do one here, okay, one, and then we're gonna do the other one here, and that's it. Now we can simulate, and here we have some tails. Now these tails are floppy tails because remember the cotton fabric, I haven't applied the strengthening feature to these yet. And let's do it. So what we do is we just put a rectangular box over them and right click and we strengthen them and simulate. Okay, now you're talking, it's better. Now you may want to make these tails longer, shorter, and maybe you want to shape them a bit. So what we can do is we can just start shaping them. Edit pattern tool. Here, for example, you may want it shaped up in this kind of way here, like that, and you may want this here shaped up in this way, like that, something like that, and that's all good and well. You may want this part larger. You may want to even use the edit art tool a bit. Depends, like that, like that. I mean, really, there are many ways you can sort of shape this to your liking. So we're going to select fabric 2, which is a default cotton fabric, okay? If we look in our property editor, we see the name fabric 2, okay? Always note these things. And we're going to apply it to this, all the pattern pieces, okay? You select them all and you just drag and drop. Simulate. And here, because it's false, it's the default cotton fabric, okay? Now, you'll say, oh, it's the default cotton fabric. I'm going to change the color now. And we're going to try to go always get that red, nice red, silky look. So we're going to change it to red. And we're going to go into rendering type, click, and we click on silk. So here we have the silky look, but it's all droopy. And you'll be like, well, how do I fix this? So what we can do now is we can juggle with the properties of this default fabric, okay? So remember in the other video, physical properties, here, if we, let's turn it all up. Turn out the stretch. We turn up the bending, okay? We've done that. The bending buckling ratio, let's go up. The stiffness, we go up. And let's simulate, see what happens. Now it's quite different. Quite different. So here we simulate and it's stiffer. Now we can go back to the properties here and we can tweak some of the property editor, and we tweak some of the properties. For example, for the stretch, remember the stretch here, we can maybe let's see what happens when we adjust some of these sliders. So for the warp property, we can sort of go down a bit, see what happens, simulate. Okay, and you see it gets a little bit more relaxed. Now, so this, it's really a starter bow and it's flat. And the idea was that one thing I can say is if you want this material to be thicker, we can select it, and you see thickness written here. You can adjust this here. You can increase this thickness, or you can select this in the 2D pattern window, and you can go to extra render thickness, and you can play with this. For example, if I change this to about 10, okay? Keep an eye on the 3D window. We want to see how thick it can become. Okay, it has gotten thicker, you see? Changed it to 10 rather. And it has gotten thicker. I can go back again, select this again, can change it to 20. And here again, you see the thickness come out. So that's another way to make your fabrics thicker, have them look thicker. Okay, you can do this. Last but not least is the particle distance. And the particle distance to bring out the details in this bow. So we select, what we can do is let's sort of reduce this extra render thickness to about, okay, let's say 3. Okay, more or less 3. And let's go to the particle distance and go down to 10. And we simulate. Okay, so there already you see there is more detail coming out. Now, if you want it, you can always, the middle piece here, you can always change the length. If you want it crunched up even more, the elasticity, you can always change the strength and the ratio. So more or less, that's it for the first bow, the starter bow, a simple bow, which can be made even smaller, and you can use it to put on presents or whatever, because it's simple. Here we can take it and we can directly put it here. So let's, oops, Control Z. We put it a little close here so we can see our first bow. So in the next video, because this has gone on for a long time, this video, in the next video, I'm going to show you how to make a more puffy, voluminous bow. Okay, very luxurious. And then we're going to place it right next to this bow. So see you in the next video.